Hi guys, I'm Blue Sicx and this is a new series I'll be doing called Blue Sicx Tarot. Now in this video I'll be talking about 6 of my favourite small spreads. So if you just get your first pack of tarot cards or even your second, you get your little book and it's got a spread in there. It looks a bit complicated or looks like it's going to take you a while to learn. So this video will just be 6 small spreads you can use to do very small tarot card readings. Enjoy. Right, so first thing we're going to do is just a single card reading. So you get your cards, so you can do your shuffling, whatever, however you wish to do it. So in this regard I'll just do a quick spread like that and I shall pick this card. So this card you can kind of do like a 1 card spread. So you can say, what's my day going to be like today? And to this one I've got, not the best card to get, but as I said, this is just for training purposes. So this is the 10 of Swords. So I'd say, okay, today might be a bit overwhelming, or I might have a situation that's continuing worsening. Not necessarily anything horrifically tragic, but I'm glad I'm actually doing a reading for myself today, because that's not the best card to get. But I'd say, yeah, so that would kind of be, I'm going to have a pretty hard day that day. So another spread you can do, another easy one, called Either Or. So you can either, so I've got my deck here again, so obviously we've already shuffled, etc. Now one way you can do this, my favourite way to do this anyway, cut the deck in half, and we'll say it's like a job interview. Should I go for this new job? So I would go, here is what I do if I go for this job. If I go for the job interview, and it's the High Priestess, so I would probably say it's a good step forward, and it will kind of encourage my intuition more. So I'll be using skills of my personal skills rather than what I have learnt textbook wise. So now using your own wits with you. But if I was to stay for this job, okay, or if I don't go for the job, I would say you've got the King of Swords. So that was more kind of, you're still in a good positive growth. So this job you've currently got will still keep you growing. Or you could say that you've reached as far as you're going to get there anyway. So you've already got the skills and you kind of maxed out where you are, and you might not necessarily be able to develop any further. So that might be a job, so that might say go for the job. But once again, these are all just hypothetical, but still very easy to learn, very quick to use. So the next one is the traditional past, present, future. Now for this I'm just going to have a quick shuffle here, just off camera. So one of my favourite ways to do this is, once again, you get your deck and you cut it into 3 piles. You can have it in any order you want, but I've just done it left, right, that way around. So for me, I would say past, present and future. Now, they are relatively vague to at what points. So for example, obviously the middle card, which is the Knight of Pentacles, that's kind of what's going on at the moment. However, the card representing the past might not be recent past, it could be further along. There are other spreads that kind of show you the recent past, far back past, same with the future. You can have other spreads that show you what's going to happen next week and then next month. But once again, we're just sticking with small cards and small spreads rather, and that they can show kind of kind of like the recent things. So in this regard, I'd probably say, well, once again, they vary from person to person. I can have 2 people, 2 completely different people, the same cards come up, but may necessarily refer to something different. But so for my hypothetical person, I'd probably say here that there was a lot of things behind them that they weren't necessarily aware of. Some things may have been hidden, and they just recently found out, at that point they found out that there may have been a bit of deception, maybe a bit of two-facedness, or on the positive spin you could say that they learnt something about themselves and that's helped them move on. So obviously you've got the present, which is the Knight of Wands. Now with the Knight of Wands, I would say to this person that maybe that their creativity, no, not creativity, that their value, maybe their self-worth has improved, that they feel better about themselves, because in this regard Pentacles refers to either money, work, or things of importance, things that are actually not worthwhile, things that are actually important and worth a lot. So not necessarily monetary value, but it could be something more with pride or self-esteem. We've got the Sun here as their future. So with this person, I would say that their future looks bright, and it's so there's good positivity. Now, in this regard here, that when I've done these sort of readings, I find that the past, present, future all kind of relate to the same topic. There can be separate stages. So as soon as they found out what's happened in this regard, that's led them on to do something else, but what they're doing here might not necessarily be directly from what's happened here. But it depends on how the reading goes and how you feel the reading goes. But usually I find it they're all kind of connected to the same topic. But one does affect the other, if not necessarily the same situation. So yeah, their situation has improved, I would say. So they've got a good thing to look forward to in the future. Right, so this next spread is quite fun to do. It's only 5 cards, but it kind of gets to the point. So this one's called the daily spread. So obviously you can use it day by day. You can use it like once a week, depending on how often you want to do it. Now obviously, if you're going to do it daily, then obviously really do it on yourself, because you're not really supposed to do a card reading for the same person too many times. So this layout is position 1, position 2, 3, 4 and 5. A bit closer. Right, so your position 1 is work, your position 2 is home, your position 3 is something unexpected, 4 is your role, and 5 is the outcome. So it's a little bit more in depth, or rather it's a bit more specific to areas, which makes it a little useful for a small reading. So we've got work for strength. So I would say to this person that you might not be having a good time at work, but you might not have a great time at work today. However, your inner strength will help you get through it, rather than persevere. Yeah, it's more like just persevere for it, really. So your home life would be the 10 of Cups or chalices, and that I would say would be your home life is doing really well. If you're like relationship wise, if you have a partner you live with, then everything's doing quite well there. Or if you still live at home, everything around your house is quite good. There's nothing really going on at the moment. Maybe any issues that had been around have resolved themselves. So that's quite a good card to have for home. Now something unexpected. So this is the 5 of Wands. Now some people read that as kind of a conflict card. So, or maybe training and practicing. So maybe something unexpected comes along today where you would have a bit of awkwardness or a lot of combatants. So maybe there might be someone at work, which is where we go back to here. So maybe someone at work causes up a bit of trouble and makes life a little trickier. So you might get a bit of conflict at work, or even conflict at home. Even though it's going on quite well, but then something quite unexpected. So your role in this and what's unexpected with the Ace of Wands. So this one I'd say to the person that maybe you are the one, that they would be the one who helps resolve whatever conflict this is. And they are the sort of person who knows the right way to kind of resolve any of this. Once again, if it was work related, I'd go back to inner strength. So in this regard, I'd probably say they're connected. And so The outcome of that would be the Knave or Page of Cups. Once again, depending on your deck. So the outcome for this scenario would be kind of, not learn your enemy, would be something more along the lines of learning from your mistakes. Maybe whatever caused this, you've learnt how to deal with it the next time, or you'd learn how to avoid this from happening in the first place. So once again, that's a daily spread, so that's something you could do on a daily basis for yourself, or like maybe every few weeks for someone else, because you should always, as I said, you should always try and avoid doing readings for the same person too often. Now this next spread is my top favourite. I use it all the time for myself, or if I'm doing like a really small reading for a friend, this is kind of my go-to, because it's small, it's easy, it's quick. So if you're with a friend, or if you're with someone and you've got 5-10 minutes and they say, hey, get your cards out, you know, give us a reading, this is the one I always go for. So I call this the Today spread. However, this can be used on a daily basis. This can be used to show how your day is going to go. You can use it to how your week is going to go. You can even use it to see how your weekend. So I'll break them down for a bit. So if it's for the day, your morning, afternoon and your evening, and the kind of general theme of the day. If you're doing it for the week, you can have it Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday to Friday and your weekend, and the main theme of the week. Or you can do it for some of your weekend, so like Saturday, Sunday, and the bit in between, the main theme of your weekend. So this is quite malleable. So with that sort of regard, you kind of, whilst you're shuffling, you have in your mind if you want it for your day, for your week, your weekend. So if you have that in your mind while shuffling and picking your cards, then it's a bit more specific in that regard. So if I was to say how someone's, I'll use this in the sake of someone's week. So for someone's week, I would say, so we've got the stars. So I'd say that their Monday to Tuesday would be quite, they're kind of be getting what they want. They'd be kind of getting a little bit of inspiration maybe, or a realisation that things aren't as necessarily as tricky as they thought it would be. So then the middle of the week, I would say that there might be a bit of a struggle. You may be a bit of loss in confidence or standing, because this is the Five of Pentacles, which usually is represented with poor people walking past the church. So this is supposed to be like a stained glass window outside of a church. So you could say that this represents, for the midweek, something more along the lines of not quite knowing where you are, being even a bit lost, or feeling like there's been a failing or a shortage, or the fact you may have fallen from grace, as it were. And then I would, well, once again, depending on the person of whom you're doing your reading for. So then we've got the Queen of Swords for the weekend, and I would say that their weekend looks a bit, they've got to be very straightforward in what they want to get done. Not necessarily hiding their emotions, but be very direct, but also still have a bit of caring about what's going on, because it's got all the roses. But the sword is something very direct. And so I'd say the summary, and then I do say this card is the summary of their week, which is the Nine of Pentacles. So, or pentacles or coins, depending on your preference. And so I'd say their week overall would be kind of quite a successful week. Lessons learnt, and they've kind of really benefited from kind of what's going on here. What's going on here is something they can learn from, and discover that they've got a lot more good going for them than they may feel in middle of the week, and that they're in a better place. They're in a better place than they think they are. And so that's quite a good reading, I would say personally. But as I said, this is a good spread because it's very malleable, and there are some people who use this sort of spread as part of a larger spread. So I've seen many people use it where they have a set of 4 and each position's representing different scenarios. So this spread would be for the home, and then another spread of 4 for their work, etc. Now this last spread I'm going to show you, I've saved for last because this is one of the only small spreads that you can do with actually asking a question. All the others I've shown you are kind of vagaries, what's going on around in general, but this is more specific for a question. So let's say someone comes up to you and says, is something troubling my partner? So sometimes that can translate as, are they not telling me something, or something like that. So as our question, we'll say, is my partner not telling me something? So you have your spread, you have your set 1, 2, 3 and 4. So section 1 is what the answer is. So the answer to the question in this regard is the King of Swords, which we saw earlier. So if someone said that to me, that they're having issues with their partner and I think they might be hiding something, the answer is probably, the answer I'd go with is no. They're kind of, I'd say they're dealing with something that's personal, once again about personal growth, and that maybe they don't feel that they have gone as far as they would like to, as they feel that they should. Now this next position is how to handle the situation. So with this we have the Hierophant or the Pope, whatever the card's called in, because this is one of the cards that varies with titles. And so it would be more showing faith in the person, because obviously it's regarded as the Pope. So I'd say you kind of have faith in them, or I would say something along the lines of maybe kind of show them that you're there for a support, that they can rely on you, maybe it's a form of reliability because people have trust in their faith. This position is possible issues or problems. So one of the possible issues, we've got the Moon. So the issue is they might be hiding, they probably are hiding something, or they are trying to deal with something and not quite sure how to handle it. So they kind of have to have a bit of duality about them. So they're showing you one side but hiding something else. Now obviously, if someone's saying, you know, are they hiding something from me? You've got to be very tactful when you come out with something like that. You've got to be very tactful. You can't just go, well, for beginners, you can't just go, yep, they're definitely hiding something from you, X, Y, and Z. But it turns out they're hiding something from you because they bought you an anniversary present and they don't want you to know about it or something. So obviously, you've got to be very careful in how you say something like this. But the possible issue is that there might be a sense that there might be a sense of either distrust or the fact that the person doing the reading for might feel that they are hiding something, and that then the person doing the reading for may have a bit of distrust. But the possible effects would be the King of Wands. Now the King of Wands, once again, is a man who's very very creative. I've been calling him Wands, haven't I? He's the King of Swords, my apologies. But so you've got the King of Wands here, and with that he's very once again kind of on his own, but it's a thing he may have to, so I'd say it's probably a thing he has to kind of deal with in his own time. So you can be there for backup, but a lot of it he may have to kind of just deal with stuff, like maybe dealing with personal demons and kind of have a new way of dealing with it. So sorry, I've been referring to him as King of Wands. That's very, very unprofessional. But yeah, so they are 5 of small spreads that are very useful to start out with. So these are very easy to learn and very quick to use. So you can get used to some of these. You get to remember some of the spreads, and then later on you can build up to using larger spreads that you can use up to 10 cards. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Now, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you want to leave a comment down below, please do so. Now, I'll be doing some more videos in the future, and I'll be talking about other packs of tarot cards and maybe doing reviews on certain individual packs, because sometimes it's quite vague when you look at a pack of tarot cards you're not quite sure. So I'm going to do a review series on certain decks of tarot cards as well. So if there's anything else you'd be interested to know, don't forget to leave a message in the comments, and like, share, subscribe, ring that little bell, and tell all your mates. And if you're interested, to follow me on Twitter at Sicx Tarot. Blue is in the colour, Sicx, S-I-C-X, and Tarot. Sicx Tarot. Thanks. See you.